All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most powerful tools in all of finance, the financial model. We're going to build the complete blueprint for mastering it. Whether you're already a pro or you're just getting your feet wet, this is going to help you build models that are solid, trustworthy, and full of insight. So let's jump right in.
So what even is financial modeling when you strip it all down? At its core, you can think of it like a financial simulator that you build yourself. It's a tool, and yeah, it's almost always built in Excel, and its whole purpose is to analyze a business and help guide some really big decisions. For instance, a solid model can tell a company if launching that new product is a good idea, or if they should buy a competitor, all by simulating the financial impact of every choice.
And how exactly does it do that? Well, it's all about building a bridge from what we know to what we don't. We take a company's actual past performance, its revenue, its profit margins, all those trends, and we use that concrete foundation to project where it's headed. It's this logical link between the past and the future that makes financial modeling just absolutely essential.
Okay, so to guide us through this, we're going to follow a 6-part mastery blueprint. We'll kick things off by exploring the different types of models out there, our toolbox, if you will. Then we'll get into the architecture, the rules of the road, and some really cool pro-level Excel tricks. And we'll wrap it all up with the final polish, error-proofing. So let's open up that toolbox and see what we've got.
First up, the toolbox. Look, financial modeling is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. There's a whole array of specialized models, and each one is engineered to answer a very, very specific question.
And here are some of the heavy hitters. The 3-statement model, that's really the foundation of everything. It gives you the big picture. Then you've got the DCF model, which helps us answer that million-dollar question. What is this company actually worth? For those huge corporate deals, the merger model is key. And the LBO model? That's the bread and butter of private equity. Every tool has its job.
Let's really zero in on that foundation for a second, the 3-statement model. This is the absolute bedrock. It's where you dynamically link the income statement, the balance sheet, and the cash flow statement all together. When you do that, you get this amazing, interconnected picture of a company's financial health. I mean, if you can nail this, you can build almost any other kind of analysis right on top of it.
Next up, the DCF, or Discounted Cash Flow Model. The goal here is singular, but it's incredibly powerful. Figure out a company's true intrinsic value. It works by forecasting all the cash that business is going to generate way out into the future, and then it discounts all of that cash back to what it's worth today. It's basically answering the question, what is all that future money worth to me right here, right now?
And then you have the LBO, the leveraged buyout model. This is like a private equity investor's secret weapon. It's designed to answer one critical question. What is the absolute highest price we can pay for this company using a ton of debt and still hit our target returns? It's all about finding that absolute maximum price point.
So, we have our toolbox full of different models. Now, how do we actually build one? Well, that brings us to the architecture. And trust me, just like you would never, ever build a house without a blueprint, you should not start a model without designing a clear, logical structure first.
Now, the structure of your model really boils down to this critical trade-off between two things, granularity and flexibility. Granularity is all about detail. Are you forecasting revenue for the company as a whole or for every single product it sells? And flexibility, that's about reusability. Is this a one-and-done model for a specific deal or a template your whole team is going to use over and over? Finding that perfect balance is key.
And that brings us to the most important point here. The ultimate purpose of your model dictates its design. You have to ask yourself, am I just doing a quick back-of-the-envelope calculation, or am I building a super detailed analysis for a massive investment decision? Answering that question first is going to save you so many headaches down the line.
All right, with our architecture figured out, let's lay down some ground rules. These are the best practices that really separate a messy, unreliable model from a professional, auditable one, the kind people can actually trust.
Okay, one of the simplest but most powerful best practices is color coding. In professional modeling, this is completely non-negotiable. Blue font means it's a hard-coded input, a number you typed in, an assumption. Black font means it's a formula, a calculation. This simple system instantly tells anyone who opens your spreadsheet which numbers or assumptions they can play with and which are calculations they should never, ever touch.
The best models also follow a really clear, logical flow. You can think about it in 3 simple steps. First, you put all of your inputs and assumptions together in one place. Second, you have the calculation engine. That's where all the heavy lifting happens. And finally, you have your clean outputs, the charts and summaries that actually tell the story.
That simple structure makes your model so much easier to follow.
Okay, now we are ready for the fun stuff, some pro-level techniques. These are the small, elegant moves that can just dramatically improve your model's clarity and reliability. This is what separates the amateurs from the pros. Okay, just take a look at this. On the left, you've got this messy, nested if statement. Sure, it probably works, but it's an absolute nightmare for anyone else to try and figure out. But on the right, we get the exact same result using a simple combo of min and max functions. It's clean, it's intuitive, and it's way less likely to have a mistake. Remember, in Excel, simplicity is your best friend.
Here's another fantastic trick, using flags. So instead of writing some crazy long if statement to turn a calculation on or off, you can just use a simple flag that's either true or false. Why? Because Excel cleverly treats true as the number 1 and false as 0. So you just multiply your formula by the flag cell. The calculation stays clean all the way across the row. It's just an incredibly elegant solution. All right, let's tackle a slightly controversial topic, circular references. This is what happens when a formula ends up referring back to its own cell. Now, sometimes they're actually necessary, like when the interest you pay on debt affects your cash, which then affects how much debt you need. But they are super risky and can make Excel just blow up. The pro way to handle them is with a circuit breaker, a little toggle switch that lets you turn off the circularity so you can audit the model safely. We've built our model, we've used some pro techniques, but we are not done yet. The final stage is giving it that crucial polish. That means making absolutely certain it's error-free and easy for somebody else to understand. The single most important check in any model is the balance check, period. In any integrated model, the fundamental accounting equation, assets equals liabilities plus equity, must hold true. It's non-negotiable. You should have a check right at the top of your model that confirms this. If that check is anything other than a perfect 0, you know you have a problem somewhere, and you have to find it. And beyond that main check, you need others. Make sure your sources of funds always equal your uses of funds. Make sure your quarterly numbers roll up perfectly into your annual totals. You know, a great practice is to bring all of these checks together into a single error dashboard right at the top. It's like a command center for your model's health. And please, whatever you do, never use plugs to force things to balance. That's just sweeping mistakes under the rug. So we've walked through the entire blueprint, from concept to the final polish. But this brings us to a final, bigger question. Is the financial model really a tool for predicting the future, or is it something more? A tool that forces us to confront our own assumptions and biases about how a business really works. That's something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.